5 most extreme prison sentences given to teenagers. Do you know which age group commits most crimes nowadays? The youth. If it continues, the destruction of our society is near. You have to see these 5 most extreme prison sentences given to teenagers. Welcome to Just Scary. Hit the red subscribe button and ring the bell. Without further ado, we are moving on. James Holmes. James entered the theater with gas canisters. That was not a normal entry. He was wearing a protective shield and started firing using his rifle pistol. That incident killed 12 innocent people and injured 70. James is not a teenager anymore, but he was young when he did this evil deed. James Holmes has a Wikipedia page which describes him as a mass murderer. More than a decade has passed since July 20th, 2012. When arrested on the same day, he identified himself as the Joker of a movie. Before the shooting, Holmes planted explosives in his apartment, which were defused by a bomb squad after he had been detained. Holmes was hospitalized after being apprehended by police and tried committing suicide several times while in jail. Holmes entered a not guilty plea of insanity, which was accepted. On April 27, 2015, his trial began. On August 26, 2015, Judge Carlos A. Seymour indicted Holmes with 12 life sentences in succession plus 3,318 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Why not the death penalty for such atrocities, I hear you wondering. By a single vote, the jury spared Holmes the death penalty. Friends, the death penalty has some ground rules. In an imposing sentence, Judge Seymour declared, "It is the intention of this court that the defendant never sets foot in this free society ever again." He even colored his hair in some weird orange shade. He was faced with 165 charges with the death penalty, which he escaped saying he is mentally ill. Later, he received 12 life sentences and thousands more years in addition. This means he will never see the world outside a jail ever again in his lifetime. Initially, he was serving at Colorado State Penitentiary, one of the safest security prisons. James was moved to another prison in the States after some time. Dylan Shoemaker. Just 17 years old. This child killed a 23-month-old baby in Austin in Erie County because the baby belonged to his girlfriend. This second-degree murder happened in 2014. The jury found him guilty and he was imprisoned for 25 years to life. Dylan said he did not want to hurt Austin and he did not want him to die. What a believable story! We cannot understand why can't these murderers think once before they commit such cold-blooded deeds. But the judge, State Supreme Court Justice M. William Bowler, said he is 16 years old and knows what is right and wrong. He knew it was wrong to punch Austin's head. At that time, Dylan was living with his mother and girlfriend, Ashley Smith. He used a pillow to cover Austin's face so he would not wake his 3-month-old brother. Really, he used to babysit the babies. Another thing Dylan said to his mother is surprising. He said he's just 16, so he would cry, and the judge would feel sorry for him. But the judge, on the other hand, was a well-experienced man, and he did what he ought to do. Never think being a teenager is a license to commit crimes, because it is not. But later, in 2016, his sentence was reduced from 18 years to indeterminate time, so he is liable for parole after 18 years. Even after that, Dylan would be under state supervision till death. Okay, before we move on to the next one, you guys must do something for us. Yep, you see that red subscribe button right there? We would like you to hit it so hard that it turns gray. And it wouldn't hurt if you also press the like button in the process. Now that we're done with that, let's return to the video. John Sylvia. Here we are going to talk about a first-degree murder trial. The convict is a 15-year-old boy and the crime happened in 2001. He is John Sylvia. He was accused of strangling a 12-year-old boy, Jerry Lee, to death. With such an atrocious crime, the jury did not see him as an innocent teen. They gave him a life sentence with no chance of parole. There were 12 jurors, and it took less than 2 hours to find John guilty. The jury could not have imposed second-degree murder charges with manslaughter. Sylvia's mother and sister sobbed as the verdict was read, and continued to do so as the judge spoke. "I'm just sorry we both lost sons to this," said Marlon Alley with teary eyes. "It's a shame. This didn't have to happen at all. He will die in prison." Assistant District Attorney Gary Wood wrapped an elastic bandage around Jerry's neck during the closing arguments to demonstrate how he was strangled. "This is the weapon of death," Woods declared. He wrapped it around Jerry Alley's neck 4 times and knotted it 4 times. On the 3.5-hour tapes which jurors heard on Wednesday, Sylvia stated that Jerry's death on May 26th was an accident when they wrestled in a dry septic tank pit, and the boy hit his head. A note outlining Sylvia's plans included 3 of his fingerprints as well as one of the victims. A list to prepare Jerry, the note said, with the spelling errors. Lines like strip to underwear, wrap in towel, tie up hands, gag, and cover eyes were included. A sobbing Sylvia apologized early in the video. "I'm sorry," he apologized to the investigators. "I had no intentions of this happening." ROXANA SIKORSKI. ROXANA SIKORSKI, a 4'8", 95-pound defendant, is simply sitting in this courtroom handcuffed. She isn't even ready to look at her mother. She was arrested for conspiring to murder her boyfriend. You'll be surprised to learn who she had planned to kill. Her entire family. Even her mother. That could explain why she couldn't make eye contact with her mother. They planned the murder for October 2014 in their Plymouth Township home. But why would a 15-year-old girl want to do something like this? This was the age when we were considering our higher education options. Roxana will be incarcerated for 10 to 20 years. On a Monday, we can see Roxana trembling in the middle of a Wayne County courtroom. Perhaps this young girl was duped by her older boyfriend, who also had been punished. Roxana snuck a fish fillet knife into her 12-year-old brother's room. She slashed her brother's throat, and the poor boy screamed, alerting the entire household. She cleared the area as directed by her 23-year-old boyfriend, as parents, Lorene and Jeff Sikorski, never abandoned their daughter. They even hired an attorney to represent her. She was adopted from Poland, along with 2 siblings. She was depressed after being dumped by her boyfriend, Michael Riviera. He even had an illegal sexual relationship with her. Her mother, Lauren, told the court she is in desperate need of continued psychological help. Her mother even asked the court not to let her go to the adult prison, which would shatter her mind. But the jury, anyway, sentenced her to jail. Roxana had something to say to her parents in the courtroom, for not being the daughter they wished I would be, and I promise I will get better, no matter what happens. She was all in tears, and let us hope she will come back as a reformed individual. SHONDELL Jackson. A young man named SHONDELL Jackson is serving his sentence in Milwaukee County Courthouse after being convicted of murder of a college student. Jackson was just 18 at the time. He and his friends were looking for victims when they saw Potter leave a bar. Mr. Potter, who was then 21, was a student at the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee. Potter was being chased and yelled at for money. The situation changed when Jackson discovered Potter did not have any money. Jackson's gunshots killed him instantly. Such things are difficult to believe. All of this is happening in our society right now, guys. Jackson is seen in the video making gestures towards the victim's family and being escorted out of the courtroom while on trial. He can be seen winking at the family just before the sentencing. Jackson's mother testified in court that she first learned of the murder while watching television. "I even burst into tears when I saw on the news. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine what that mother is going through. I had no idea my child was involved in it. My child is not a demon." Jackson has now expressed regret for his actions. Jackson lost his school as the judge sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While the cops are restraining Jackson, a member of Jackson's family can be heard enraged at the victim's family. Wait a minute. Jackson is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole, but his friend, who admitted to acting as the lookout, received a 12-year sentence. Do you think that's fair? This video wasn't for entertainment purposes. It's high time that we should understand teen minds. Teenage crimes are hitting crazy highs. This shouldn't continue. They are the future of our nation. Like the video and comment down your views. Remember to subscribe to Just Scary. Take care. Goodbye.